The man knocking on her front door that night was not the thing that nearly killed her. The thing that nearly killed her was a door she'd already locked herself hours before. Priya was 27, and she'd lived alone in the little rented house for almost 2 years, long enough to be comfortable in it, long enough to stop double-checking things. 2 days before, a man had come to the door in the afternoon, a delivery driver, polite, a clipboard, sorry to bother her. He had a package for an address 1 number off from hers and couldn't find the house. She didn't know the neighbors well enough to help. He thanked her and left. She'd forgotten about it before dinner. You forget things like that. They're nothing. It was a Tuesday, nothing night, rain coming down steady, and she was on the couch with the TV low when the knock came. Not the doorbell. A knock. 3 of them, even and unhurried. She wasn't expecting anyone. She went to the window beside the door and moved the curtain an inch, and there was a man on her porch in the rain, middle-aged, a work jacket, a clipboard, soaked through. He saw the curtain move and gave her a tired, apologetic smile and called through the glass that he was sorry to bother her so late. He was with the gas company. They had a reported leak on the street, and he needed to check the meter at the side of the house. Was that okay? Reasonable. Every word of it reasonable. There was a real smell of gas in the neighborhood sometimes. The houses were old. A man in a work jacket with a clipboard at your door is the most ordinary thing in the world. But Priya didn't open the door. She'd tell you later she couldn't even say why exactly, except that something about the timing was wrong. That nobody from any utility had ever once come to her door after dark, in the rain, on foot, with no truck she could see on the street. So she called back through the glass that she'd just stay inside, thanks, and he should do whatever he needed to do. And his face did a thing. Just for a second. The tired smile stayed, but something behind it went flat and assessing, the way a salesman's does the instant he writes you off, except this wasn't a sale. And he said, easy as anything, "No problem, ma'am. I'll just go around the side." And he stepped off the porch and he walked toward the side of the house, toward the gate, toward the back. Priya stood in her living room and felt the whole shape of the night change. Because here is what she understood, all at once, standing there with her heart starting to go. A real gas man checks the meter and leaves. He doesn't need anything from her. But this man had knocked. He'd made sure, first, that someone was home, and that it was a woman, and that she was alone, because she'd come to the door by herself in a quiet house with one TV on. He'd knocked to take attendance, and now that he had, he was walking, calm and unhurried, toward the back of the house. And the back of the house was where the door was. The one off the laundry room. The one that opened onto the dark little yard behind the gate. She went for it, to throw the deadbolt, and that's when the second wrong thing landed, the one that turned her blood to water. The deadbolt was already turned, locked. She always kept it locked. But the door wasn't sitting right in the frame. It was pulled to, snug, looking shut. And when she touched it, it drifted inward off the latch. Because the bolt was thrown into a strike plate, it was no longer catching. Someone had put a strip of tape over the latch. Hours ago, in the daylight, so that a door she would swear on her life she had locked would look locked and feel locked and open with one push. He hadn't come to get in. He'd already been in earlier, long enough to fix the door. He'd come back, to knock on the front, to be sure she was home and alone, and then to walk around to the back he'd already opened and simply let himself in while she stood watching the wrong door. Priya did not scream, and she did not freeze, and she did not run out into a dark yard with a man in it. What she did was grab the one thing on the kitchen counter that she'd walked past 10,000 times without a thought. Her car keys. And she pressed the panic button and held it. Out in the driveway, in the rain, her car came alive, horn blaring, every light flashing, that awful, relentless look-at-me shriek that a car alarm makes, the one nobody can ignore and everybody hates. On a silent, rainy street at 11 at night, it was an air raid siren. It did not stop. It would not stop. It screamed that something was wrong at this house, to every dark bedroom window on the block. And the porch lights started coming on. Next door first, then across the street. A neighbor at his window, then his front light, then his silhouette stepping out onto his own lit porch in a robe, peering through the rain to see whose car was going off. A second neighbor, a dog barking, the whole quiet street waking up and looking. There was a sound at the back of the house, the laundry room door opening, then a pause, and then nothing. No footsteps coming in, footsteps going out. Fast, now. The first time all night that man had done anything fast, because a man like that can work with a woman alone in a quiet house. He cannot work with 6 porch lights and a screaming car and a street full of awake, watching neighbors. She'd taken the one thing he needed, the quiet, and she'd torn it to pieces with a button in her hand. By the time the police came, he was long gone over the back fence. But they saw the tape on the latch. They saw in the laundry room, just inside the door, on the floor she'd mopped that morning. A single wet print from a work boot. He'd had 1 foot in the house when the alarm went off. 1 foot. Here's what a detective told her after. The gas leak knock was a known one. A few houses in 2 neighborhoods that month, always a woman who lived alone, always a door quietly unlatched on an earlier visit, a fake delivery, a flyer, a wrong address, any reason to be on the porch for 30 seconds with a strip of tape. They came back after dark to a door they'd already opened. At the other houses, there'd been no second lock to find. There'd been no alarm. There'd just been a woman who answered a knock and a back door nobody thought to check. And Priya thought about the polite man with the clipboard 2 days before. The wrong address, 1 number off. 30 seconds on her porch, right beside the door. She never even watched him leave. Priya moved, eventually. New place, better locks, a real alarm on the wall now. But she'll tell you the wall alarm isn't the thing she trusts. The thing she trusts is the little fob she still keeps on the nightstand, the one that turns a parked car into the loudest object on a silent street. The thing that, the one night it mattered, was the only light she could find a way to switch on. And every so often, even now, she checks a door she knows she locked. Not because she doesn't trust the lock, because she learned, on a Tuesday, in the rain, that the most dangerous door in the house is the one you're sure is already shut